But we begin with this. The Bulls announced over the weekend the team has signed DJ Steward. Pardon me. I got Dorito dust caught in my throat.
Oh, Dorito dust. You need to embrace chill.
I do. Two-way contract. Stewart, of course, coming off of a strong showing in all of their Summer League games, but especially that Game 4, the OT win against Atlanta, where he not only had the game-winning bucket for the Bulls in OT, but that was 2 of his 37 points on the night when he caught fire from 3. Played all of last season for Boston's G League team, the Maine Celtics, averaged 19 points, 5 boards, 4.5 dimes per game. I think a lot of Bulls fans, especially after that 37-point outing, were saying, hey, we've got a roster spot, a two-way roster spot. Please use it on this guy because the two-way spots have not been super fruitful over the last couple of years.
Yeah, when we talked about him a few days ago, and it was more of a plea for me of them not to pass on talent. And I don't care what position he plays or whatever. I don't care if you think you're stocked at that position. Stop passing on talent. Stop doing that. You don't pass on a dude that carried you to a victory, an overtime victory, who dropped like 35 and hit over 4 threes. Like, he was awesome in that game, and he was awesome this entire Summer League as well. I like the fact the Bulls did this. I like that they didn't wait on it.
Yeah.
I like that they made it immediate. Like, nope, you're signed. Here's your two-way contract. Put your jersey on. You are rolling with the Chicago Bulls. I appreciate them for recognizing the talent and simply choosing talent. Of course, there are things in his game he has to work on, but you can't deny what you saw out there on the floor and what he was doing and how he was impacting the game every time he played well.
Yeah, and I think, like, it's just, like, you have to put this in perspective of what the contract that they're giving him is, right? Sure. They're putting him on a two-way contract. Last year, the two-way players almost didn't play. They were with the Windy City Bulls. They played mostly in Hoffman Estates. Batim, who was on a two-way, got promoted. And then that opened the way for Andrew Funk to come in and get his 2-year contract on a two-way that he still has. Batim got promoted. Henry Gel played like brief minutes at the end of the season. Adama Sanogo played a few minutes, obviously had the 2020 game against the Wizards when everybody else was sitting. And so, like, the Bulls aren't really, like, utilizing these spots as guys who are going to play a lot. Yeah. It's really, like, developmental flyers. And I like Steward from the perspective that he's younger. He's 22 years old. He's obviously got a lot of scoring potential. I'm not saying he's going to, like, come in and be somebody who scales up to being, like, a primary ball handler at the NBA level. Correct. That maybe doesn't happen, but that's okay. I think he can be a productive scorer in the G League, and I think that helps some of the younger guys, as we talked about last week. That can be helpful for some of your younger guys if they want to go play down there, where he's creating a little bit more attention, changing the way the defense has to guard, helping them get into shots. I mean, he averaged, I don't have the number up, but he was like getting 7, 8, 9 assists in some of these games in Summer League. So I like the signing. I also obviously just have a soft spot for guys from Oak Park because that's where I grew up. So it's cool to see him make it to that level. And I can't wait to talk to him about that. But I think that, like, it's okay if this guy doesn't turn into a superstar. It's very difficult for your two-way contracts to become that. But I think that he could be a good player. He's obviously a very creative scorer as a smaller guard. That's going to kind of lower his ceiling as a player. But it's cool to me that, you know, that the Bulls went after him in this way because I think it's a shot on talent. And that's what they should be doing with these two-way spots. Even if he doesn't end up being somebody who contributes at the NBA level, some teams are, you know, they prioritize that more than others.
Sure.
But I think you just want to keep talent in-house and try to develop him as best you can and hope for the best.
That part right there. You want to keep your talent in-house and keep these guys kind of on your team. And there's nothing that he did that said we should move this guy or get rid of this guy or allow another team, you know what I'm saying, to come up on him.
Got to imagine some teams who were at their, you know, out there in the desert watching some of the games were like, yo, this DJ Stewart guy
licking
is nice.
Licking their chops, waiting for this guy right there to come in. It reminded me of a guy like Chris Dunn. It honestly did, because Chris Dunn is dominant on one side of the basketball, and that's the defensive side. Well, where is he? Still in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? He fell out the NBA for a minute, but now he's back in the NBA. Chris Dunn! Give me the shot, Matt. Yes. But he's
19%.
back.
6 fouls.
4 turnovers. But he's back in the NBA. You know, he's still getting an opportunity strictly because he had that somebody believe in him and he had that chance. But when he left the Bulls, that's what he did. He went to the G League on a few other teams, and then he found his way back. This guy is a talent. Like when you're scoring 37 points in a game, it's a talent.
Yeah.
So you want to, cultivate that. You want to grow that and see if it could be something that your team can actually use down the road.
And the confidence was, look, I rattled off his G League stats for the Maine Celtics last season. The guy clearly can score, but like every time the Hawks, the Summer League Hawks went under a screen on him in that one game in particular, he was like, "Oh, you're going under the screen? Okay, cool." Cash.
Barry.
Like that's confidence. That's a confident player who knows that they can put the ball in the bucket.
Right.
Our friend Julian saying, DJ. Go ahead, Will.
He also really had that like James Harden double step back move that was cooking. And then I thought he was able to put pressure on the rim. And like obviously as a small guard, like I said, you're gonna have a ceiling. But I think if you can pull up over screens for three, hit step backs and get to the rim, like you're in a good position. And then you just gotta make plays.
We all silly like